Yeah, this is Glen, Wing 6. I got into zero visibility, and I'm trying to get through it, but it just goes down to zero. So I'm diverting to Elliot Lake for the moment, and I will reassess on the ground.
Okay, so after sleeping in the plane for the first night, because I couldn't get a hotel room in Elliot Lake. There's only one hotel, couldn't get a room. I got a hotel room for the second night. I've had a good sleep. I've been able to speak with a bunch of the pilots who are flying water bombing runs, and I've come up with a plan. I've looked at the fire map, and speaking to the pilots, I've realized where I need to be. So if we look at ForeFlight, we are here. Let me get the right color. We are here in Elliot Lake. Just east of Elliot Lake, sort of along here, is a bunch of forest fires. Some out of control forest fires. Those are the ones that were throwing up the smoke that forced me to land. Over here is where I want to be. I want to get to Sudbury. Now, ultimately, I want to get home. I want to put Mike Victor uniform back in its hangar in Oshawa. Today, this afternoon, all of the pilots are convening in Kingston for the finale. Part of the problem is, that's Kingston right here. Part of the problem is you can see this rain activity kind of in the middle there. That's going to be a bit of a problem. And a lot of the pilots have already given up. None of them made it to PEI. The smoke and the weather from Ottawa to PEI was just too much for everybody to go through. So they all went home. They're going to convene this afternoon in Kingston. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm not planning on making it. I think my difficulty is that get there-itis. I don't want to succumb to get there-itis. I just want to get out of Elliot Lake while I've got a nice blue sky day, and I figured out a route to go around the fire. So, like I said, there's fires here, here, here. There's also a couple of fires down here along the shoreline. Now, to get home, it would be great if I could fly from Elliot Lake across to Gore Bay and then along that chain of islands the way that we went to Sault Ste. Marie. Problem I have is that these forest fires are shedding smoke based on the prevailing winds. And that airport at Gore Bay has, over the last couple of days, been going in and out of IFR, depending on the wind, depending on the intensity of the fire, depending on the smoke. It's terribly unpredictable. And crossing, that's about 12 miles of open water without being able to see land, not something I can do because I'm a VFR only pilot. So my only plan at this point is to fly northwest on this flight route, go around the fires, give them a wide berth, and then come back down into the Sudbury. I've got a couple more calls to make to London FIC to make sure that this is the right plan, and then I'm off.
Elliot Lake traffic. Foxtrot Mike Victor uniform backtracking 30 for takeoff. Elliot Lake.
Approaching runway 1230. Entered runway 1230.
So I spoke at length with London FIC. I didn't record it. I was trying to concentrate on what I was doing. About 15 minutes ago I spoke to them. And they're reporting that smoke tops at or around 2,000 feet above ground level, and that the way the smoke is moving, my plan to go north and then hook across to Sudbury is a good plan. But they also said that the smoke isn't so bad over Manitoulin, and that's an option too. And I sort of reserved, once I get in the air and I take a look and see. I am worried though, because I know that it shifts quickly, and I know which way the wind's going. It's blowing north to south. and I don't want to be in a situation where the wind shifts, the fire shifts, everything changes, and I'm smoked out and I'm over the islands and over the lake. So I'm going to go to Sudbury, which means I could be stuck in Sudbury tonight because there's a system moving in southern Ontario with rain and thunder showers. So here we go.
Elliot Lake traffic, Foxtrot Mike Victor uniform taking off runway 30, turn out northwest, Elliot Lake.
Airspeed's live. Smoke's bad, not as bad as it was the other day. I've still got a discernible horizon. I'm going to say I've got 6 miles visibility.
London radio, Foxtrot Mike Victor uniform, Foxtrot Mike Victor uniform, Pirate.
Mike Victor uniform, London radio, go ahead.
6 miles north of Elliot Lake. I'm in the smoke, about 7 miles visibility at 3,500 feet.
Mike Victor uniform, right, thanks for departure. The Corbeil commander from the hour 2984.
2984, thank you very much.
So I'm not in the least bit ashamed to say that that last flight a couple days ago where I diverted to Elliot Lake because of smoke and then did a couple of runs to see if I could get south of the smoke totally freaked me out. Shook me to my very core. It did. The smell of the smoke and losing your sight line like that completely freaked me out, and I'm on edge right now, still on edge, because forest fires and smoke from forest fires are no joke. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I took forestry at university and worked in the bush in northern Ontario, quite a bit north of here. I still consider this sort of mid-north, not really the north. And a big part of our training was emergency training, and emergency training around forest fires and what to do if you got caught in a forest fire. It's no joke. It can shift on a dime. Just a little bit of wind shift, and the whole thing can go off in another direction, and you're engulfed. And what I was experiencing in the air when I first diverted was that there must have been a small shift in the air. The other planes got through, and something kicked up more flames, more smoke, and I got caught behind it. Okay, so I'm going to deviate from my flight plan a little bit. Looking at the way the smoke is, I think I'm far north of the fires, so I'm going to start hooking off to the east a little bit, cut the corner, dial in my next frequency, which is Toronto Center. I should call them before I enter Sudbury's zone. Yeah, so I'm just at the edge. I've got them on dual. So I've got 126.7 as my main, which is the en route frequency in this area. I put in 135.5, which is Toronto Center. Now there's quite a bit of fire just off over here. I don't think the camera picked it up. And I don't think I'll make it home tonight. I don't think I'll make it back to Oshawa. Julie just texted. Unbelievable. I'm at 4,000 feet right here. I've climbed a little bit. At 4,000 feet, mid-northern Ontario, nothing underneath me. And Julie just texted and said there's thunderstorms in Ajax right now. So I think if I can get to Sudbury, that's the plan. That's the end game. Sit down at the FBO and reassess. Yeah, those fires are really bad over there. They're kicking up a lot of smoke. And so this smoke must be coming from There's another line of fires probably 150 miles north of here. And then all the fires in Quebec, but I don't know if the wind is bringing it from Quebec. Looking out and seeing all the cutovers. I spent an awful lot of my life in a cutover. And near the end, I hated it. Near the end, I absolutely hated it, and that's why I stopped doing it. But you know, now, I miss it. I sort of romanticized it in my head, I guess. And I'm probably rambling, because I gotta tell you, nerves are high. Okay, so I'm in range of Toronto Centre. I should identify myself. Still a little patchy.
Toronto Centre, this is Foxtrot Mike Victor uniform.
Foxtrot Mike Victor uniform, Toronto Centre, go ahead.
Mike Victor uniform is a Cessna 172 on a VFR flight plan from Elliot Lake to Sudbury, and I'm taking sort of a northern route to get around the forest fires, currently at 3,700 feet.
Mike Victor uniform, Roger, should have you on radar here shortly.
Mike Victor uniform.
Okay, so it's getting bumpy, because...
Mike Victor uniform, what's your distance now from Sudbury?
Currently probably 50 miles from Sudbury. To the northwest.
Mike Victor uniform, Roger. Mike Victor uniform, Sudbury altimeter 29081.
29081, thank you.
7260 on the localizer, about 9 miles back from Sudbury. You can contact Sudbury radio now, 125.5. Talk to you later.
125.5, calling 726.
Okay, so there is another forest fire. That one was not on the map. So it's fairly new. We got a good strong wind pulling it away from us.
Mike Victor uniform, just got some higher of information out of Sudbury. The flight just to the west of the field is about 4 miles.
Thank you, Mike Victor uniform. That's about what I'm seeing in my present location, Mike Victor uniform.
Mike Victor uniform, Roger. What's your distance now from Sudbury?
45 miles.
Mike Victor uniform, report 35 miles from Sudbury.
Report 35 miles from Sudbury, Mike Victor uniform.
Mike Victor uniform, showing a radar target at 4,000, about 35 miles from Sudbury now. Squawk code 4353.
4353, Mike Victor uniform.
Mike Victor uniform identified at 4,000. Sudbury altimeter again, 29081.
29081, Mike Victor uniform, thank you.
I'm on radar, and got a squawk code, talking to Toronto Centre. I'm about 35 miles from Sudbury. And the haze has gotten worse over here than it was when I left Elliot Lake. This is nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking. I gotta tell you, if I was flying just with a compass and a paper map, or an HSI and a paper map, there's no way. There's no way. You can't see far enough into the distance to discern what everything is.
Weather at 1300 Zulu, wind 330, at 5, visibility 6 miles, smoke, 9,000 scattered, 20,000 scattered, temperature 15, 2.10, altimeter 29081, landing and departing runway 04, runway surface conditions, runway
Mike Victor Uniform, Toronto Center.
Mike Victor Uniform.
Mike Victor Uniform, surveillance service terminated about 18 miles PD west of Sudbury. You can contact Sudbury Radio now, 125.5.
125.5. Mike Victor Uniform, thank you.
630, and I'll do an expedited climb out with the caravan.
Sudbury, this is Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform.
Mike Victor Uniform, good day, Sudbury Radio. Wind 02010, altimeter 2979er. Confirm you're 16 miles west of the field now, 3,100 feet on a code 4353.
That is me, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform.
Roger, thanks. ATIS is India, runway 04. Traffic 2 miles south of runway 04 is a caravan. And in position, runway 30 is an Aero Commander. The Aero Commander will be holding for the arrival of the caravan, then we'll be departing off 30, eventually northbound. Are you able to remain south of centerline for 30 at all times?
I am, yes, Mike Victor Uniform.
Thank you very much. I'll point out that Aero Commander traffic if it looks like they're getting close, but I don't think it'll be an issue. Confirm you're planning runway 04.
04 if possible, Mike Victor Uniform.
Your runway 04. Report to join us. Are you planning straight in the left base? Confirm.
Straight in left base, yes, Mike Victor Uniform, 04.
Thank you. Mike Victor Uniform, Sudbury.
Mike Victor Uniform.
Any comments on the visibility as you're coming in from the west?
Very poor. Sunshine through smoky haze. I can't really see much at all.
Roger, that's kind of what the caravan traffic ahead was talking about as well, so I checked that. From here, it does look like the visibility is still holding between 4 and 5 miles to the west of the field right now, maybe a bit better than that. Looks like it might be improving a little further to the north, but it's tough to tell. I don't really have any visibility markers in that direction.
Mike Victor Uniform.
The caravan traffic said they had the airport and the lake beyond in sight clearly at about 8 miles final for runway 04. So once you get a little further east, it should start to pick up.
Thank you. I'm 2 miles out from your zone. Mike Victor Uniform.
I copy that. I got you on the radar there now. Report joining the base, and I will keep you updated as things progress at this end. If you encounter anything much worse or better than what we just talked about there on your way in, I'd like to.
I will. Mike Victor Uniform.
Stand by. Perfect. Mike Victor Uniform, Sub Radio, check your turn to final 13508.
Turning final 04, Mike Victor Uniform.
234, Sub Radio.
Go ahead for Jazz 234.
Came back approved, 1415.
Perfect, thank you.
156, Sub Radio.
Go for 156.
You got off the radar again altogether now. You were still showing 0000 right up until you disappeared about, we'll say 10 seconds.
1 mile final runway 04.
Simmons and then possibly Dryden next, so we won't be bothering you with any bad transponders. I'll tell the next pilot.
500.
No trouble. I will put it in the remarks here on the strip and let Simmons know that your transponder's a little bit wild, but you can keep the squawk code 0041 for now.
All right, keeping it on 41. Thanks.
It's a runway. Crosswind, not too bad.
Sudbury Radio, Mike Victor Uniform on 04, holding short 1230.
Hey, Victor Uniform, Roger, taxi is at your discretion. Are you familiar with the field? You know where you're headed?
I am not at all, never been here.
Roger, are you just looking for fuel, or are you heading somewhere specific?
I'm looking for fuel, maybe someplace to tie down for a little bit.
If the uniform, Roger, then you're looking for apron 3. If you want to take a right onto runway 30 and then a right onto taxiway Alpha, that'll bring you across the top of the main apron. Just past the regional jet on the apron, you'll see a green fence with some fuel trucks beyond.
Approaching
That's
runway
Northern
12,
Aviation. Just
30.
past Northern is apron 3. So you can turn left into apron 3.
Entered runway 12,
2 FBOs here.
30.
And is the Shell 122.905 or Executive Aviation, which is World Fuels 122.35. They're both on apron 3, and fuel is all done by Bowser, so they'll come to you.
Thank you very much. Taxiing 30 to Alpha to apron 3, Mike Victor Uniform.
Roger, thanks. And your flight plan has been closed, and alerting services are terminated. We'll talk to you back.
Thank you very much. Mike Victor Uniform.
I should point out that is a very nice-looking plane.
Thank you. Yeah, weeks and weeks of polishing every year.
I have no doubt.
C34.
Mike Victor Uniform, Sudbury Radio. Are you able to do all your post-check landings off of Alpha somewhere? There is regional jet traffic looking at it.
Yeah, I'll just pull into the tower here.
That's perfect. Thank you. 234, do you copy the comments from the 170 team?
Yeah, we checked the remarks, C34.
Thanks. To position your discretion, your departure is valid. Runway 22 on the Sudbury 2 departure. Contact Toronto Center Airborne 135.5. Your flow window opened about 50 seconds ago, so you've got 4 minutes and change before it closes again.
Jazz 234, clearance is valid off runway 22 on the Sudbury departure, and we check 35.5 in the air.
Okay, so I made it to Sudbury. Not going to sugarcoat it. That was really stressful, and I'm really thankful that I was able to get on with Toronto Centre as soon as I could, and that they spent time. And when I called out for a radio check, it really was, I just needed to hear a human voice at the other side to know that, you know, someone was out there, that if I needed to talk to them, you know, they were going to respond. And they did. Got onto radar and got in here, but the visibility was, again, really low. I was flying into the sun, which doesn't help much. Some of the PIREPs you might have heard on the radio, people flying west weren't having the same difficulty because the sun was behind them. Now, I'm here and I'm facing a flight back to Oshawa. I just did a weather briefing with London FIC. South of here, not very far south of here, even though, you know, blue sky above us, there are some clouds moving in. And you can kind of see them there. There's some clouds moving in. South of us towards North Bay and then on to Muskoka, the clouds are down to like 600 feet. They're in IFR. And then south of that you've got rain, low IFR, clouds, rain, and smoke, the whole package. And there's convective activity that's starting up around Peterborough, and they're expecting thunderstorms into Oshawa and Toronto later this afternoon. So that's it for me. I made an hour flight from Elliot Lake. I got to Sudbury. The FBO here has a deal for a hotel, so I'm gonna get into town in a hotel. They've got a courtesy car for me to drive into Sudbury. One of the things that you learn and you hear over and over and over is don't succumb to get there itis. And I have nowhere to be. I mean, I'd love to be at home with Julie and Chicken the cat, but I'm alive and I'd rather be safe. And so, you know, a night in Sudbury is not so bad. We'll tack it again in the morning. So I think I'll leave it here. This trip has turned into everything all at once. But my struggle to continue on this trip or to get home pales in comparison to the struggles that people go through to get from these remote communities like Elliot Lake to someplace like Sudbury, Toronto, Kingston, Ottawa, or other communities across Canada in order to get medical treatment and medical care. And that's what this flight was about, was to bring, shed some light on that and raise some money for Hope Air. So my struggle pales in comparison to what other people go through, and I hope that overall this flight, even though it sort of fell apart, has raised a lot of money for the cause. If you're interested in the cause, I'll put some links below. Thanks a lot, and I guess I'll see you on the next one. Just to add, you know, an addendum. The guy in the tower here at Sudbury was fantastic today. He really was fantastic. He was a little chatty, but he was on the ball. He was getting PIREPs. He was passing on information. Fantastic service from Nav Canada ATC today.
Roger, taxi is at your discretion. This is going to sound like a really unusual request, but as you're taxiing by, do you mind just stopping in front of the tower for 2 seconds? I'd like to take a picture of your plane.
Certainly, I can do that. Mike 15 uniform.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to run out to the surround and catch you on the way by. I'll be right back in.